What's good, everybody? This is Quad B, formerly Bamboozled Black Baby Boomer. I still am a Bamboozled Black Baby Boomer. Let's do this real quick. Well, let me shut the audio off on the YouTube app. Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Quad B coming at you from Northern Virginia, about 25 miles west of DC as the crow flies. And as you can see to my right, I have a special guest, Mrs. Bamboozled. Yes, this is Mrs. Bamboozled, Quad B's wife of going on 32 years next month.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Wow.
So I don't see anybody. I see one viewer. I think that's us. But we're just here to talk about. I've been wanting to do one of these with Mrs. Bamboozle for the longest time. And we've got a lot to talk about. Okay. We've got a lot to talk about. So y'all heard me yesterday when I was in DC on a quick hangout and talking about, that would be my last day out in DC. So here we are. It is, it's 12:23 p.m. on August 4th, coming at you again from Northern Virginia. And say hello to the folks, dear.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Excited.
Yeah.
First time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this lady here has been with me. Man, we first met in January of 1981.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was quite the meeting in a club in Philly of all places. And I think I was on one of BGS's women's hangouts talking about that. And the YouTuber I know real well named Angry Man had mentioned later on that I guess that made me a pookie because I was in the club hollering. We had that whole Pookie Ray debate, but we're not going to go there today. Got a lot. Yeah, thank you. We got a lot to talk about. Not the least of which is some. I may have mentioned it to you on a live stream back maybe a couple of months ago regarding a certain state administrative function that we've been waiting for like 10 years, and. Why don't you tell the folks what's going on? Why don't you tell the folks what happened and how what we hope will happen on August 23rd of this year. And either way, you guys will hear it. You guys will hear about it. And if things break the way we hope they will, a whole lot of folks could benefit. Trust me. But go ahead, dear.
Yeah, this Bamboozled has been explaining a lot has been going on, and I guess we're calling this particular segment "When Life Comes at You Fast." Back in 2006, I was teaching and high school students. And one day, two of my students decided that they were going to have a kerfuffle. And I tried to stop it. And in the meantime, I was assaulted while trying to stop the fight and ended up with permanent spinal injuries. Okay, bad enough. I had to retire out because the injuries kept me from doing my duties. So I applied for, and this was in New Jersey. And again, this happened in 2006. 2008, I retired out and I applied for accidental disability retirement benefits under New Jersey pensions. And now we're in 2018 and I am still waiting. It's been frustrating on many levels, just having to go through all the dog and hoop acts just with dealing with the legal issues and the legal continuances, and it's just been tough. It's been tough financially. It's been tough physically for me, of course. It's been tough emotionally. But we're still hanging in there. I guess my frustration is this long wait, and the continuance is scheduled for the 23rd of this month. Now, keep in mind, in this process, when I applied, I submitted my application to New Jersey Pensions. Of course, they denied it. And after the denial, my case goes to the administrative level for a judge to hear testimony from me and my doctors and the state's doctors. Well, through a whole lot of dog and pony acts, I have had to go through several independent medical evaluations by the state. And of course, now I'm in Virginia. So when I was evaluated the last time, they had a Virginia doctor evaluate me. Virginia doctor didn't know what he was doing, submitted his report. The state knows it. So to make a long story short, the state is pretty much just dragging out this process because they know that I'm entitled to my benefits, but they don't want to, give me the benefits. And it's really been frustrating, victimizing on many different levels. And one of the reasons why, you hear so much frustration from my significant other, Mr. Quad B, is because of how I have been caught up in a system that's supposed to have protections. They say they have protections, but they really don't follow through the way they want to. And it's really frustrating. And I've been holding my own, and I've been trying to keep Mr. Bamboozled over here calm. But, he has his own radical ways of thinking about doing stuff. And I don't have bail money. So that's what's keeping him and me out of jail from doing radical stuff. But, this goes to show that, life does come at you fast and in many different ways, and just try to make the best of it. Mm-hmm. But this outlet, with his channel and with his live streams or whatever, it's just a way for him to express, what he's feeling with his frustrations with the system, because it is rigged. There's no reason why I should have had to wait this long. As part of the process at the administrative level, I had to testify. My doctor had to testify, and now the state's doctors have to testify. And this has been going on now about 4 years between my testimony and then my doctor's testimony, and now we're waiting on the state. So, stay tuned. It's this is just a tragedy in progress, pretty much. But it's just a way to try to, keep calm, keep sane, and get through as best as you can. And, Bamboozled over here is exercising his rights and getting his frustrations out on my behalf. And I appreciate that.
Okay. Oh, and let's check the chat. Angel, how you doing? Stick around, man. Stick around. Forget what I said yesterday about you coming in. Stick around. And Jack Charles, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We've got a couple of people. Yeah, they're right here, dear. Yeah, they're right. Yeah, we have two screens.
Thanks,
going.
Charles. Yeah, it is terrible. It is horrible. I don't know. And I guess one thing I did forget to mention, just, complicating this, I have MS, and I was diagnosed in 2003, and I'm in remission. I had some flares, but, thanks be to God, everything, I'm functional. And pretty much the state tried to say that my MS, multiple sclerosis, which is a disease of the central nervous system, affected my spinal column, which is ludicrous because we're talking two different bodily systems, osteopathic versus neurological. And, I've had several surgeries, spinal surgeries, to try to correct the spinal damage, but I'm still not 100%, and I still can't do that same job. The state knows it, but they just want to, drag this out. But I'm staying in the fight. I have no choice. They owe me back pay from 2008. And it's been hard. We haven't been bankrupted, thank goodness, but we've had a lot of losses. And, Bamboozled over here is not very happy. And
no, I'm not.
It makes life real, for lack of better words. But we're hanging in there, and I guess part of this this live cast is to let people know that after going on 32 years of marriage and going on close to 40 years of almost knowing each other.
40.
Well, okay, 81. Do the math.
40. Okay.
All right, so this is 18. This is 18. All right, so subtract 81 from 18, and you get.
All right. Well,
30. I think I did my math right. 37 years that we've known each other.
Oh, okay. I got you. Got you.
That's a long time. That's more than half my life.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I'm like,
see, this is for y'all, and I'm here to tell y'all millennials and you Gen Xers. All right. This is what marriage. This is what marriage looks like when you've been together 32 years, okay? Divorce was never. Oh, there are times we love each other. Don't get it twisted. But there were times we didn't like each other. Matter of fact, this is good therapy actually, and don't have to pay somebody $150 an hour for it either. But you stand before your before a minister, you stand before God, you stand before your family and friends and pledge to stay together until you die. It ain't easy, but when is life ever easy? Even here in America, where we have every, modern convenience or whatever have you, even in America where we as Black people as a group have been screwed over for most of this country. Now, as individuals, if anything, our screwing over has been economic. At the same time, all this was happening with Kathy. I'm sorry. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm Mrs. Kathy Bamboozled.
Okay. Oh, what? Oh, okay. I don't know why this camera keeps. We got this Logitech camera that keeps doing that whole autofocus thing.
Right. We're okay. They can still see us.
So my point being that since I came down here in 2007 because of because I developed this skill set helping companies, file bids and proposals to get work, to get contracts. And this was with an environmental company up in New Jersey. I was there from 2000 to 2007, got laid off. So I came down here. Mrs. Bamboozled stayed in New Jersey. So I rented a room from a retired teacher. And by the way, I ended up co-writing that teacher's book about her life with sickle cell disease. Okay. So this whole healthcare thing has been a huge part of our lives, So from 2007 to 2013, things were all right. But then 13 came along, and now keep in mind, a lot of these companies in the DC area are here because they all want pieces of business from Uncle Sam. And when Uncle Sam stops spending money or slows down spending, people like me who aren't on contracts, who are not directly billable, end up getting laid off. And I've been laid off 5 times since now, as of yesterday, 6 times since 2013. Altogether, I personally have been laid off of jobs starting in 1996, 10 times since 1996. Hard to build any kind of material, financial wealth when you keep getting knocked down. And I remember reading these financial publications and stuff like that. And it said, well, you should use your salary. You need to be saving for retirement, saving for college, saving to buy a house. I'm like, how in the hell you do all that on, you know, on a mid-level 5-figure salary, and even combined, if we had all those years, if Mrs. Bamboozled and I had a combined salary of, for any given year of 100 exceeding 100,000, we were lucky. Okay. Because I started out in journalism, which is unless you're like Tom Brokaw or one of those big network Bigfoots, as they're called, you're really not making a whole lot of money. But I enjoyed the work. I really did. But things, I left it to try something else. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. In retrospect, it turned out to be, because some of the newspapers I work for, some of them have shrunk, and one newspaper I work for, some of you may know, is completely gone. So what you gonna do? And another thing, what do you want to say? Something? Was there something else you wanted to say?
Well, no, I'm just listening to you and, talking about just the changes, socioeconomic changes that we've gone through. But this is something that is very systemic, in that, we've seen policies that have changed, and it is changing the face of the middle class. In fact, a lot shrinking the middle class. And I'm just, one example. We're just one example. When we were in New Jersey, I was a college professor and a high school teacher, and was commanding close to 6-figure salary between those two positions, in addition to what my husband was doing. So we were, pretty successful financially, and we had a home, and we were able to build and save, and just like Bamboozled said, do everything that the books tell you to do, saving for retirement, saving for children's education, saving that 3 to 6 month safety net, so that if something does happen, you'll have something to fall back on. And we did that, many times, between his job losses and, what I was able to save at least 3 months of, income, so that we could pay our mortgage and pay our bills and things. And it went quick. It went. Fortunately, I was able to rebuild maybe 1 or 2 more times. And then after that, it's been almost difficult, almost impossible. And a lot of it has to do with some of the changing tax policies, certain tax write-offs that we don't have anymore. Mm-hmm. We don't have a home anymore as a tax shelter. And even if you do have one now, you have limits on that. So, there is a large conspiracy, so to say, to shrink the middle class, because a lot of the regulations and the provisions that we had as far as taxes and shelters, we don't have those anymore. And it's even worse now, because we don't even have those things that we could have used as shelters. Yeah. And to me, it's just part of a grand scheme to shift the balance of wealth. And we know it. The 1% is doing a lot. And it is, and if you don't see it now, just read. Just see what's been happening. Just do a search of what's been going on the last at least 5 years. See, at least since the beginning of 2000, 2010 and on.
Now, some of y'all, of course, Mrs. Bamboozled and I are late stage baby boomers. We were born in late 1959, 6 weeks apart, actually. She in Philadelphia, me in New York. And of course, we came together in Philadelphia 21 years later. Okay. But for the first time, we came together in Philadelphia. And What was I getting ready to say? I forgot that quick. See, I'm having these senior moments. Damn it!
Keep them to yourself, please. Okay, the senior moments.
Man,
no, but when we came together, things were so different.
Yeah,
the
they
rules
were.
were so different.
Yeah, they were.
We could follow the, get your college education, get a good job, get that pension. Our parents went through years working for utility companies or other, where you work for 35, 40 years, you got your gold watch and a pension. Those days are gone now.
My father worked for a local utility company for 30 years. Mrs. Bamboozled's mom, my mother-in-law, worked for the telephone company.
Utilities,
telephone company for a long time. So it was, maybe we should have gone that route, but instead we go to private sector route, which was a lot riskier. At least I went the private sector route, which was a lot riskier. Of course, I didn't know it I did know it at the time, but I didn't think. It's just like anything else. You don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. But one of the things I keep hearing I read millennials, and this is one of the first videos I did on my old channel. For those of you who are not familiar, I have actually two channels. The one channel was called Bamboozled Black Baby Boomer, which I created almost a year ago, September of 2017. That got hacked during a live stream I was moderating, and someone put porn on it, and YouTube flagged it and told me I couldn't live stream. So I created this one called Quad B, which is short for quadruple B, or BBBB, 4 Bs. I love alliteration. I'm a writer. I love alliterations. Alliterations being the same set, the same, sound letter. And I said in that video, look, I wish y'all would stop blaming baby boomers, especially black baby boomers, for dropping the ball. Look, the deal is, oh, and by the way, today, as we film this, as we're doing the live stream today is President Obama's birthday, isn't it? Yeah, happy birthday. Yo, Barack, happy birthday. Many more. He's technically a late stage baby boomer. Matter of fact, he was born maybe a couple of months before my brother in 1961. And we're late stage baby boomers. We had nothing to do with the early baby boomers, i.e. the Clintons, i.e. the Koch brothers, i.e. our current president, who I will only refer to as 45. A lot of those people are the ones who wreck things. By the time we came along, we didn't know any better. So technically, we're a part of a subset of baby boomers called Generation Jones. Now, why it hasn't gotten much publicity, I don't know. But Generation Jones is actually folks born between 1955 or 56 and 1964. And if you don't believe me, look it up.
Interesting.
Jack Charles, let's look at it here. Jack, how you doing? Looking at the current economic system with your experience, do you think it is best for younger generations as far as taking courses of action to be ahead in this game?
Absolutely.
But what do we think is best? Definitely STEM. I am a big proponent of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. That was, when we were growing up, STEM was not on our radar screen. But you've got talk about artificial intelligence, algorithms. I love saying big data, all that good stuff. I would definitely try to get into that, because someone's got to program those robots. But here's the other thing. I always say, is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Because if you have robots doing everything, then what's left for the humans to do?
Yeah.
Are those robots going to buy groceries? Are those robots going to buy houses? Are they going to buy cars? Think about it.
But
Go ahead.
I wanted to add to Mr. Charles, and thank you for your question. When we were coming up, a lot of us were steered into non-scientific disciplines. We did our social work, or we did our education. But when it came to business, management, accounting, those areas, we as African Americans, persons of Black African heritage, we were not steered into those areas. What I would and do suggest to millennials today, just take a look at what's going on globally. What are the trends? And everything now, a lot is focused on technology, cybersecurity, systems, and like I said before, big data. So that's definitely one area to look into, and have a circle of friends and acquaintances that are like-minded, to keep you encouraged and to keep building on and encouraging each other. I'm very much now interested in what some of the Black millennials are doing. And when I say Black, I'm saying Black millennials for a reason, because when I say millennials, everyone has, or most people have, this connotation of being lazy, self-centered, wanting instant information gratification. To me, that's the mainstream / white millennial. I'm looking at the young Black professionals, those who are 21 to 40, who have already established themselves in their profession, whether through college education or through entrepreneurship, and what they're doing to make a difference. They're on their game. How do they get on their game? And what information can they share with us and other millennials to let them know that, there are other options and ways that you can go to without being steered into some of the traditional areas that most of us young, well, I'm still consider myself young, but when we were coming up, where they were steering young Black folks of Black African heritage.
And we're talking about back in the 1970s.
Yeah, 70s, yeah, 80s.
Maybe early 80s.
Yeah, politics was not it. I mean, I have a degree, I have a master's in international politics. That's something I came across, through my father and others, but I wasn't steered in that area. It was more education or more social sciences, social work, but nothing like Reg Lewis said, why can't I have all fun like the white boys have, in business, with money, on Wall Street, with the international politics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then, yeah. And, what got me wanting to go to college, believe it or not, was, a trip to the Philadelphia International Airport to see my little sister off. She was flying to Raleigh, Durham Airport to see a relative, and this was in 1974. And this is long before TSA, when you could actually go to the gate and see your loved ones off. There was no security, and I looked and saw those aircraft, and I thought, hey, I could do that. I could fly planes. So I did all the research I could. I was 15 years old. I was sort of drifting through high school, laying my head on the desk, drooling on the desk, and using my shirt to wipe the drool up when I woke up and all that good crap.
I didn't know him then.
No, she didn't know me then. Again, yeah. Yeah. And so when I saw that, I suddenly had a mission. So I remember an Air Force recruiter coming to our high school, and I talked to him, and I said, so how do you become I want to become an airline pilot. And he said, well, to become an airline pilot, you need to be an officer in the Air Force. I said, okay, how do you become an officer? You need a 4-year college degree. Okay, that settled it. I was going to, okay. That's when I decided I was going to go to college, and I buckled down starting in the middle of my sophomore year. And I ended up getting into college and joining in the ROTC detachment. But unfortunately, I ended up being separated from the Air Force, ROTC, because of reasons I won't say here. But I stayed in college and I shifted my focus. I had to create a major. So, watching the news always intrigued me. So I made my major journalism. And when I got kicked out of ROTC, I said, maybe I should focus on journalism. So I focused on broadcast journalism at first. And I never forget this professor who said, yeah, we got to run radio boards and stuff. And a matter of fact, I actually got an FCC third class license to be able to broadcast back then. And this one professor said, yeah, it's really easy to do operate a radio board. It's so easy, even an orangutan can do it. And I looked at this guy like, what? I said, well, damn, if an orangutan can do it, I don't want to do this. So I switched over to the news editorial piece, and the rest was history. I got the internship. I did a summer job in Florida in 1980 with a newspaper there owned by a company whose chairman, and I gotta say his name, Alan Newharth of Gannett. A lot of black journalists, especially black male journalists too, owe their careers to this white man, because he was big on diversity, not only in news coverage, but in terms of personnel. And there were quite a few black men who actually ran newsrooms as managing editors, or not just reporters and low-level editors, but as managing editors and executive editors. And I know one dude. I was at a cookout in the mid-'80s down here when I was working down here in DC. This brother actually offered me a job as a reporter. Only problem was it was in Mississippi. And she and I were planning to get married and move to Colorado. So I said, yo, dog, I appreciate it, but little things like that, I carry fond memories of. But y'all talk about the media today, by the way, and how screwed up it is. Back in the day, we tried to write the news straight down the middle. Give both sides of the story, or a third side or a fourth side of the story. We tried to be as thorough as we could without all the punditry and all this stuff that goes on today. So anyway, that's how my career sort of changed. But the fact is, going to an airport is kind of what led me here to this spot today. But
that's good, because when you mentioned Al Newharth, he did have, I don't know, some type of vision or whatever. I don't know, it was conscience. I don't know, to open the door for more minorities, more blacks to get into the media. But the issue is that we still did not have control.
That's true.
Were there. We were window dressing. We were there, the reporters, the editors, but we didn't have the final decisions in terms of what news was disseminated, what wasn't. And I guess they did have some latitude. We did have some latitude, but when you look at and I agree, when you look at the big picture, we really didn't have a lot of what we really needed to get at our story. There was still a level of control and a level of censorship, because to this day we still don't own anything as far as the media and so forth. And now with the attack on so many things that are going on in this country right now, we have to be very discerning and very careful about what we see, what we hear, who's writing. So back 20, 30 years ago, yes, it's a part of, I guess, the outgrowth of civil rights and affirmative action and so forth, is we did have a place, but so far.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I'm not even gonna call it a glass ceiling. There was concrete that, okay, you can go but this far, but that's it.
And that's when, that's where owning your own thing comes in. Let me see who's that. Someone, Goku 92 Son. How you doing? Gentrification, automation, and AI plus social programs cut. My generation, millennial, ain't gonna have nothing. I'm in school for information systems. Good. Oh, and believe it or not, I have a degree. I have a master's in information systems management, by the way. I do have one. So, but I mainly got it to learn, to get knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge about a whole bunch of technologies, but skills and abilities are another thing. Yeah. But I have a lot of knowledge. I have enough knowledge to write about it, given, if I get the right inputs, like from individual people or from stuff that's already out there. Again, it's like being, I'm just applying my journalism skill to it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, kudos to you, go KU 92 son, because you're seeing where the action is, where the survival is as far as information systems, because everything now is technological, and you will have something. Millennials will have something, but my suggestion is know your history. Know what the struggle is now, know how we got to this struggle now. We are a smart and amazing people, and we have figured things out before. We're going to figure them out again. But know the trends, know where the direction that the world is moving in, and keep at it. A lot of it is that we need to get a vision. And I'm an old head saying this, and I have millennial children, and I'm hearing a lot of this. Oh, excuse me, we have millennial children. I'm sorry. Yes, they're his. They're his.
They're mine. They're mine.
They're mama's babies and not papa's babies. No, they're ours. Okay. And we encourage them to stay up on what the trends are, and I forgot my train of thought. But just have a vision, and also try to get with like-minded folks. We can do that as a people. There's a whole lot of infighting going on, and some of it is just over nonsense, and we need to look at it as this is survival. We are smart. We are bright. We survive the Middle Passages. I know that in our DNA that we are we are a great people, and we just can't let these distractions or whatever I'm not even gonna call it infighting, but in disagreements, keep us from focusing on building that wealth, building that legacy. We have a lot more tools now than Bamboozled and I had when there was no internet back then. When I was in grad school and I'm working on my doctorate now, I had to go to the library. The Dewey Decimal Card library system. You're asking, what's that? I had to go through and read microfiche to get my research materials and things. So there's so much available now for information. Just let's get a circle together and be like-minded and, move ahead. And yes, there will be something. I'm not, I don't believe in defeatism. As long as there's a will, there's a way. And, I just want to be we want to be that voice of wisdom to share what we've gone through and to let you all know that there's so much ahead. There's so much out there. There's so much available. Big data, artificial intelligence, just the whole information systems. That's just, it's just boss.
And tell them the story. Now, let's go back a little bit. One of the things one of the people I watch on YouTube every now and then is a lady named Yvette Carnell, and she talks about reparations and politics. We got to get our politics straight. Well, Mrs. Bamboozled here had a role in some politics at one time. Why don't you tell them what happened after you were forced to retire out due to injury?
Well, I got education in my blood. Can't help it. And after I had to retire out, and go KU 92 son, yes, we're in DC also, and I'm from Philly, so we can talk about that. I'm going to get to that in a second. But when I retired out from the school system, I ran for school board.
In our hometown. Where she taught, where my mother served on that board of education in our town, where my brothers, me and my siblings graduated, where two of our oldest children graduated.
Exactly.
And she was a teacher, and she ran for school board. Now tell her what
I ran the first time, and because of serious electioneering and politicking, I lost by 6 votes. And pro se, I went into Superior Court, and I filed for a recount. Got the recount, and the recount showed that, yes, I did lose by 6 points. At the time that I was running, one of my opponents was in one of the polling places, and he was handing out his business cards. You vote for me, and so forth and so on. What I had asked was that the votes from that particular polling place would not count for one of the opponents. Didn't happen. Okay, so I lost. Came back the next year, won by the most votes, and I served on the school board until I had to leave my position to come down here to the DC area with Mr. Bamboozled. During the time, it was very interesting because New Jersey is its own breed of humanity when it comes to politics and corruption. And I was in it for the children. I was in it. I took an oath to make sure that the district ran well. I had no political aspirations. I wanted no favors because a lot of my other school board colleagues were there for ulterior motives. My motive was just to make sure that the district ran well. And at the time, the superintendent who was there was my superintendent when I had retired, and he also had evaluated me once. Out of all of my evaluations, his was the only negative one. And he got a little scared because he knew I knew where the bodies were buried. Mm-hmm. And he knew that I knew everything that he was telling the board was not true. Well, he handed in his resignation right after I took my oath. Long story short, he did come back after I left. But the point is that the political realm is important, yes. I have been very active in helping with campaigns, my own, with canvassing, with giving support to, just getting out there, knocking on doors and, getting points across, meeting people, listening. That is very important as far as politics. But we can't get sidelined that politics is going to be the only way. Politics is a way, but, we need to focus on wealth building.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because, I get what Yvette Carnell says about,
Thank you, Simply Deep.
Oh, yeah. Simply Deep. How you doing? Oh,
fine, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, lovely couple. Thank you. But I guess I get what Ms. Carnell says about reparations and all that good stuff, but it ain't going to happen in our lifetimes. We can work on starting it, but it ain't going to happen in our lifetime. Look who's in office. Yeah. Come on. And then white folks are going to go berserk if we were to get a whole bunch of money. Well, you already had welfare and the war on poverty, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you still, in order for the politics to happen, you still need the money.
That's right. And with, Go KU 92 Son, you said it, the assets is key. The property is key. We were supposed to get our 40 acres and a mule, and this is where the whole issue of reparations comes up. Well, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen anytime soon. We know that with some of the founding fathers and some of their philosophies as far as rule of governance and equality, if you want to call that, this particular regime that is in rule is not about that. But we do have the knowledge and the skills to get out there, to build our wealth. I am very much down for economic empowerment. That's the way that, we're going to be able to do it for ourselves. I like what the Black Panthers did, back in the 60s, even in their radical ways. And I appreciate that too, because some things you got to take by force, take by force. However, what they did in terms of supporting the community themselves, we as a people, we can do that. I think it's just a matter of thinking about it. I think it's a matter of really getting serious about it, having dialogues about it, and just, coming up with ways. It doesn't have to be in a Baltimore or in a DC. It can be just one small community.
Mm-hmm.
It can be just a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It starts small. With the Black Panthers, it was in Oakland area, but it started in pretty much one sector of Oakland, one community. And as long as we have that desire and that mindset to do that, it can be done. And we have the skills and the talent to do it, because we can become self-sufficient, even though the government policies and the regulations and the attitudes are against us. We can supersede that. We can overcome that.
Let me give y'all a scenario. Say Bamboozled never came to the DC area and stayed in New Jersey, and Mrs. Bamboozled here ran for school board. She won her seat. She ran in 2009 and then tried again in 2010 and won. And she was the top vote getter. And she won mainly on the strength of her former students who are now who are of voting age, who voted her in. Okay? Here's the deal. The following year, our oldest son, who was 24 at the time, 23 at the time, ran, but he lost. But say he had won. Say Bamboozled here had stayed. I would have run for school board. Now, there are no single member districts, nothing like that. You would have had, I was imagining this, 3 members of one household on a school board. All we needed were 2 more votes, because the board, the board is made up of 9 members.
5 is a quorum.
And 5 is a quorum. We could have, we could have turned that thing upside down. And of course, folks would have been like, "Oh no, those Negroes are running the school board," and it would have been like, "Yeah, we are." Yeah. And the biggest thing and the biggest impact we would have had was hiring a superintendent who would have not acted like he was still a teacher in the 1970s and ignored all the demographic changes in that particular town. Yeah. So I thought about that, and I thought, wouldn't that have been something? They probably would have changed up the laws at that point.
Probably so.
Probably so. But I'm sure it happens in a whole lot of towns. Yeah. Matter of fact, the way a lot of towns in New Jersey are set up, they're all at large. You could have, like, for example, our hometown governing board, not the school board, but the governing board is known as a township committee, 5 members. Theoretically, you could have all 5 members of a township committee living on the same block. Yeah. It's living on the same street, that's same neighborhood.
Pretty much what it was.
That's how it worked. Now, I want y'all to, now here's a question I love to ask people. I'm talking about New Jersey again. How many municipal units, in the chat, y'all, if y'all in there, Type in the number of municipalities you think are in the state of New Jersey. If you would, I hope somebody's still here. I see Goku. Oh yeah, Goku. We're going to talk about the South in a minute.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about the South in a minute. 10.
Keep going.
You're like frozen. You're like one of those explorers frozen in the Hudson Bay, bro. Try again.
Exponentially.
Try again. 10. I know New Jersey's a little state, but try again.
Anybody else?
Any takers?
It's just fun.
This was fun. I love doing this to people. Remember, I covered for the first part of my career. I covered these local governments in Jersey. 100.
Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Oh, by the way, if you saw us doing that little wave thing, we were waving at our son and his girlfriend who were going somewhere. We don't know where.
Yeah. We're telling them see you later.
Just telling them see you later.
Let's not keep them in
suspense. Let's not keep them in suspense.
We're not going to torture you anymore. Yeah, how many?
567 municipalities are in 21 counties in the state of New Jersey. And it also includes something like 600 school districts.
Independent.
All independent.
With the independent boards.
All with independent boards. Yeah. All with their own superintendents. All with their own police chiefs. With the exception possibly of Camden now.
Yeah. And their own mayors.
And their own mayors.
Yeah.
There is not every square inch of New Jersey is incorporated. Yeah. You know how a lot of states, like in the South, they might have a city here or a city here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a city here or a city there. Now, and the rest of it is patrolled by a county sheriff. Not in New Jersey. So there's plenty of. So that's partly why the state is broke, because they really needed to, like 30 years ago or 50 years ago, restructure that entire state. But you have people whose interest is keeping things the way they are because that's their jobs.
And in New Jersey, the last time I checked, they have the highest property rate in the country. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard.
Jack, you're in South Florida. Would that be Miami or Fort Lauderdale or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know Go KSU 9 Sun is talking about, moving south. And, there's a lot of merit there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of merit there.
Reverse the migration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just reversed the trend that happened 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Because when industrialization happened and a lot of the farmers, they just saw an overabundance of their crops and didn't have anyone to sell them to. A lot of the farms went bankrupt. A lot of the farmers moved north to meet with the need of industrialization. And now I guess it's time to, turn that trend back.
Okay, so, and as you guys enter, please hit the like button. Now, somebody here hit the not like. I'm not sure why, but you're entitled to your opinion, I guess. Because usually I don't get to my live streams. I don't usually get a thumbs down.
Listen, I've been a classroom teacher in high school for many years, and I was called many, many, many colorful things. Hey, whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever.
Yeah, and if any of y'all don't believe us, like Arby's, they have the meats. Well, Quad B, he has the receipts on all of this stuff. Okay, we're not gonna steer you wrong. When it comes to her story about running for school board and all that, we have the articles from local paper and Inquirer, the local news. She was all up in the media behind that. Yeah. So I don't know what the thing is. Talking about the South, matter of fact, my family is having a reunion. My mother's family is having a reunion on the farm. Oh, Jack Charles, you're in
Huh.
Palm Beach. Okay. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, one of those municipalities in New Jersey is called Pine Valley. It's a golf course with a few residences around it.
I thought that was
So-
Tavistock.
No, not. I think Tavistock, maybe.
Yeah, that's another one. Okay,
That might be another one. I have
yeah.
to check, but yeah. Pine Valley is a golf course and a municipality. Somebody paid off a state lawmaker to make this, to designate a golf course and municipality. This is how things are done up in NJ.
Yeah, but it would be good, I know, to at least come into another environment, with the ideas of, moving back to the South, where a lot of us, and you were mentioning a family reunion, a lot of us still have roots there.
Yeah, and my grandfather was able to leave us a whole bunch of land down there, and we got a little commune springing up down there. We got about 9 family members have built 9 residences on that land where my grandfather, raised watermelons and cantaloupes and whatnot for market for years and whatnot. Of all my grandparents, he's the one I was probably closest to and knew the best because he was the one that lived the longest.
And he was the son of a sharecropper.
And what's really remarkable is we still have that land in a part of the country where Black folks were run off their land. You've heard about, I mentioned this yesterday on my live stream. You had Black Wall Street burnt down, and you had, but the fact, I don't know what it was. I don't know what I used to wonder. I used to go down to South Carolina and visit my grandfather's farm. It would be dark, quiet, and I would be wondering, I sure hope none of these ain't no Klan mofos coming up in here, because it would get ugly. But the fact that he had the foresight to leave all this, to buy and leave all this land and leave a legacy for my family, I take my hat off to him every day. And I just mentioned to Mrs. Bamboozled yesterday that maybe we ought to think about building something down there, because see, housing, a double wide is pretty cheap. and they're not like trailers, like ugly trail. They are really nice residences that are cheap, man. They're cheap. All you need is the land. All you have to do is dig the septic tank, dig the well, and drop your house on it, have some, and you're good to go. Now, of course, if you want nightlife and fun, you're gonna have to travel to Augusta, Orangeburg, or Columbia, or maybe even as far as Charleston. But you're gonna otherwise, when you're our age, partying, going out and partying isn't a priority anymore, because it's like, although nobody really wants to be the old person at the club, and then of course
I'll be the old person at the club. I love a party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right.
As long as they're playing our generation's music, because some of that trap stuff y'all be listening to, some that stuff I can't get with it. I'm sorry. Now, I actually was on Twitter the other day and saw somebody do an old mix of some 91 stuff from 1991. The Sounds of Blackness, and what was the other one? Sounds of Blackness, Will Smith, Heavy D and the Boys. I could get with that. Digital Underground. I could get with those, but a lot of this stuff y'all got going today.
That's all right. That's how I stay young.
Oh, okay.
Hang with the hey.
Okay.
Hang with the energy.
Okay.
Hang with the energy.
Okay, got it. So, I don't know where else to go with this. We got 5 viewers in here and 3 likes. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. And here's the thing: if you are watching this later on, when YouTube uploads this, feel free to make a comment below, and we will happily, I will happily respond to you. And
yeah,
let's see, Jack. We have Goku, Jack. We have Simply Deep. And this is great because this is the first time I've ever had my wife on here with me.
Nice, go KU92 son.
What's that?
Right on, right on.
What's that? I want to sow my oaks. Oaks?
Yeah, I know. That's all right. You
Dude, are you sure you're anatomically correct there?
Holy.
Oaks before I settle down. I might get a woman from Africa or the Caribbean.
Or you'll Southern gal. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
But no, and here's the funny thing. I always thought I was going to marry some girl from the South, but I ended up marrying a chick from Philly, of all places.
I got Southern roots. Hey, what can I say?
And again, and of course, but you know what, too? I figure, the one thing about growing up where we did and again, we grew up near, me and my cohort, before I met my wife, we grew up near Camden, New Jersey. And the one biggest friggin' barrier that I finally figured out that stunted our social life was the friggin' Delaware River. And the fact that we couldn't cross any of the bridges into Philadelphia, because if we had access to Philadelphia, we'd have had access to a lot more women early on, of course. I could have met her at age 16 instead of 21.
I'm glad everything happened the way it happened.
Okay.
But I give kudos to Go KU92 son because sow your wild oats now. Build your wealth now.
Yeah, really.
So that, when you do get settled, you make that commitment. Certain things that you will need to keep you going, you already will have established. And we kind of did that, but the rules of the game changed for us as far as how employment was situated and settled. You get your retirement after so many years, that was gone. There were a lot of changes in certain policies. So, do what you do now, but, continue with your ideas and your thoughts to build that wealth. The assets are the key. The property, is a way to go too. So, you're on the right track.
So, here's the thing. Stay tuned for August 23rd. Either this hearing is going to go off as scheduled, or you might witness us visiting a certain state agency and as we raise a little cane.
Yeah.
Either way, y'all will see it. I'm serious, because we've had it. We've about had it. We've been patient.
Yeah.
Even me, I'll admit, we've had our disagreements over how to approach this. I felt like, we need to go up there and get in somebody's face.
If it's continued again, yes, this is what this has been going on since 2008. Okay. And we recently had, I don't know, in the last, let's try to get the camera clear. That's all right.
This camera
let me stay still. More than a dozen continuances. And, if it doesn't happen, we're just going to go visit the Attorney General and say, look, come on, enough is enough. My rights to due process under the 5th and the 14th Amendments particularly 14th Amendment, have definitely been violated. What y'all gonna do?
Well, does that apply to an internal administrative procedure as opposed to a real court? Keep in mind, this is an internal administrative procedure.
They'll have to tell me whether or not the 14th Amendment applies or not.
Okay.
They'll have to tell me. I think it does, but they'll have to tell me it won't apply. And I'll be like, okay. And then you can tell the whole world why you have been stalling for 10 years.
Come on, look. You sent my wife to a doctor who don't know jack about New Jersey, and he twisted himself into a pretzel based on a 20-minute evaluation versus her doctor who had been treating her for 13 years.
Yeah.
We know that according to her lawyer, the judge has the right to give much more weight to a treating physician. Now, keep in mind, my wife's physician is not some just hired gun expert. She was her doctor from the time that she came down with MS. Okay. Yeah. She was her treating doctor. So treating doctors get a lot more leeway. In other words, New Jersey, just take the L and pay us, please. Pay her. Just take the L. You know, I get it that your pension funds are broken, whatnot. But you know, you didn't help but here's the thing: you also didn't help your image when I'm gonna say this much too. You didn't help your image when you gave a young Caucasian New Jersey transit officer a disability pension at age 27. Why? Because he put a staple in his shooting hand, and they couldn't find another job for him, and he got one. Come on. And now and he's been seen at gun ranges shooting and whatnot. And I'm like, really? This guy is 27. Here's the thing. With a accidental disability pension pays you 73% of whatever you were making at that moment, not ordinary, which is, 30%, 35% of the average of your last 3 years' salaries. Okay, that's lower. But accidental disability, yeah, the state has proven it will fight you tooth and nail on that. But my feeling is this: you got so many people who take different public jobs that carry pensions, and you got all kinds of double. We call it double. There's articles about that out there. You got all this double and triple dipping to the extent that New Jersey looks like a friggin' Baskin Robbins 31 flavors. Okay, I mean, really.
Thanks, Dr. Charles.
But yeah.
And yes, they will replace doctors in the future. They are now.
Yeah.
And diagnose better. That's 92 son. Yeah. That's good. It's kind of scary, but that's what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's coming.
Okay. Well, I don't know what else I can. Anything else you want to add?
No. Just I just thank you all for tuning into us and sharing your ideas and build that wealth. Get that legacy going. Seek out areas where you can acquire the property and the assets. Economic empowerment is where it is. It's in our blood. We had it. We have it. And we just need to exercise it and do it more.
It's funny. I wonder if that one person who disliked this is like MGTOW or something. And for those of you who don't, MGTOW, men going their own way, they don't like the idea of getting married or anything like that. Look, we got married. That's what you did back in the day. You got married, okay? Yeah. And you got married. What can I say?
Okay.
But this is good because this is good for us because I tend to feel a little weird talking about some of this stuff without her with me. And now, with Mrs. Bamboozled with me, we're presenting United Front. But stay tuned on August 23rd of 2018. We will be somewhere in the Trenton area of New Jersey. And then, and by the way, after that, you will likely, again, this is all scheduled, no, anything can change. Life like we said, life can come at you fast. After that, my youngest son and I will be at an event called Shine 2018, which is a big convention of enthusiasts of the Nintendo game Smash. And my youngest son, who's a Generation Z.
Generation Z is going to do it.
And I think Generation Z is going to be the one that's going to clean the country up, believe it or not.
The Parkland kids,
they're the ones who are going to clean the country up.
Yeah.
But
with the millennial help too.
Mm-hmm. But he's quite an artist, and so he'll be a vendor there selling his artwork. And you'll probably see me go live from Beantown. I mentioned that on my live stream yesterday where I talked about, I can't wait to hear those people pronounce words like Boston and Harvard and all that good stuff. I love this. And as I said yesterday, I know their accents are weird to me, but I'm sure that our nasal Middle Atlantic accents are just as weird to them. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's MGTOW. See, a lot of these acronyms, I don't know. I don't, so I'm learning. So thank you.
Oh yeah, that racist creep. Yeah, a lot of them are. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, they're alt-right. Those alt-right type. Oh, and by the way, two things I wanted to also mention while I'm here. Of course, we're coming up on the anniversary of that mess that happened down in Charlottesville, Virginia, where the dude ran his car into the crowd, killed that one girl, and Trump and I'm sorry, 45 wouldn't condemn what happened. And another thing that's coming up is the anniversary of back-to-back deaths of two of our entertainment icons, Bernie Mac and Isaac Hayes. They died within 2 days of each other. And matter of fact, they appeared in a movie that I can't remember the name of it right now. And they kind of had to re-edit the movie after both of them passed away. But in case most of you know who Bernie Mac is, he first appeared on HBO's Def Comedy Jam. Excuse me, I'm about to say something. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Remember, check it out. It's on YouTube. And of course, Isaac Hayes was a great soul musician. I grew up listening to Isaac Hayes, and of course, Isaac Hayes was also the voice of that character Chef in South Park. In case you didn't know, but yeah, we got a couple of anniversaries of those things coming up. But it's been 10 years since those two brothers died. Within a day of one another. So check it out. Thank you. Okay, let me see. Chat, thank you. Hope everything will work out for you with your hearing. Thank you. Stay tuned, and hope things work out. Great show. Thank you, Goku. MGTOW dudes are racist creeps.
Love South Park.
South Park could be. I haven't watched it in a while, but the times I've watched it, it's like, who the hell? I mean, who? Like, what kind of drugs do you have to be on to come up with shit like this?
Yeah, South Park. Yeah.
So, and that show's been on like almost. It's like giving The Simpsons a run for its money. Right. See, we remember when those shows first came on. We remember when Fox as a network first showed up. Matter of fact, Fox first came on the air in 1986 or 87. Yeah, and their first big show was Married with Children. Right. And an Angry Man whose channel I watch. He actually did a video well over a year ago talking about how Al Bundy from Married with Children was way ahead of his time. So, yeah, if you go check that one out. But anyway, I can't think of anything else, dear. Is that
no good?
But it's good. It's really good. Thank you for being with us. And if you catch this on the on the upload, once YouTube uploads this, I hope you get something from it. I'm going to try to put some timestamps into the various topics we covered.
And if you have any other topics, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you have any other topics or ideas or anything, or just shoot Quad B an email, a note, or however you all, because I am not savvy. I have techies around me, so I don't have to be techie savvy, but you can contact him, and we'd be more than happy to come back.
Okay, that would be. Excuse me. My email address would be Quad B, Q as in quiet, U as in under, A as in apple, D as in dog, B as in boy, 2059@gmail.com. That is the email address attached to this channel. And if you feel like you want to holler at me, please do. If you want to holler at, if you want to holler at Mrs. Bamboozled and I, please do. It will come on and do a live stream based on your questions. But that's about it. It was a pleasure to be able to share our time with you.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear, for coming on with me and not having me like do a whole monologue by myself. Oh,
You know what? Okay, 92 son. All right.
Blacks moving to the South.
All right. We'll do that.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Definitely.
Actually, there is a website out there that talks about the Black American homeland, and basically it's I'd have to share the link, but they drew a picture of 8 southern states and with like sort of like the South, something like the South African flag superimposed on top of it. 8 southern states, and they said, and their thing is, if we all move back down there at once, we could take over. And of course, now as far as the Caucasian folks, they can either move out or they can work with us or whatever. But we're just gonna be like, hey, we're tired,
and it's how we do it.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
It's how we do it, and definitely having the economics to do it. Yeah.
And like I said, a lot of one of the things I had forgotten to say was another YouTuber I listened to is Black Gnostic Speaks, or he's better known as BGS, and he talks about if you're going to run for office, run for your school board. And I say, yeah, that's what my wife did.
Right. Start local.
That's
where it starts.
Start local. Start local, and keep in mind too, don't sleep on the state level, because a lot of damage is being done to ordinary people at the state level too, through corporations and their groups like the American Legislative Exchange Commission. Look them up. They create this legislation that they want, and they shove it in front of lawmakers at the state level who pretty much rubber stamp it. So those are the kinds of things that over a generation or two we're going to have to reverse and make it and reverse and make things in our favor. So but again, I'm talking off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a lot more. I'm not getting real deep in the weeds, so to speak, but anyway.
That's good. Okay. Gives us something to work on for the next.
Yeah. And then here's the thing. I've come to the I have come to the realization that a lot of this is something that we are not going to see in our lifetimes, but we have to. I'm thinking ahead to 2118, assuming the United States in its current form is still here. But I want to think about our grandkids, great grandkids, so they won't be like, what the heck were those folks doing between 1960 and 2020? So we that's where it's got us. I'm here, as I've said in the past, I'm here to give the millennials game and the Gen Xers game that I wish somebody had given us. But then again, what's the game here to give us? So, but also look for some videos on public sector contracting, which is what I've been doing for a living, or been involved in for a living for the last 18 years. I'm going to be doing some videos that hopefully you'll find useful. I do have some videos on my channel that talk about how to use the hub zone, the hub zone designation of the government to find contracting opportunities or employment opportunities. All that information is out there. The government has it out there. It's just a matter, and it's hiding in plain sight. You just got to know where to find it. So I've done those. I did that one last year. I might have to look at it and see if it needs update. Look at the 2 of them rather and see if they need updating. So anyway, that's enough. That's enough for one day, isn't it? How long have we been on, dear?
I don't know. I don't know. But it's been good. The time is relative. It's just the content and the context. So
okay. This is quite okay. Well, dear Mrs. Bamboozled, thank you so much for thank you very much for coming on live, and hey, as I always say, if you like this video, Please like it, please share it, please subscribe to this channel, and click on the bell so that when Quad B goes live or uploads new content, you will be notified. And until next time, this is Quad B and Mrs. Bamboozle saying peace, deuces, and God bless, and we'll catch y'all later. Take care.